All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to Kerber Rose's Wealth Management webinar, an overview of our services. We're excited you could all be here with us today to learn more about it. My name is Scott Shavy, Wealth Advisor with Kerber Rose, and I'll be discussing an overview of Kerber Rose's wealth management services today. I've worked for Kerber Rose for a little over a year and a half, and have worked specifically in financial services in the retirement planning field for almost 15 years now. So with that said, we'll go ahead and get started on today's presentation and overview of Kerber Rose. So there's a picture of myself, Scott Shavy. I'm a certified financial planner with Kerber Rose. And in the presentation today, there's really four main areas that we are going to cover. So we're going to discuss who Kerber Rose is and what specifically a registered investment advisor is. We're going to give some background and talk a little bit about our wealth management team. Then we're going to go into a little bit more depth and detail on our investment process and what resources we use to help clients. And we're going to finish up the presentation then talking about the types of clients we typically work with and what those services are. And I always like to provide a little background information when we're talking about investing, that really any investment that a client makes really should be within the context of a personal financial plan. So clients, when we meet with people that are looking at Kerber Rose Wealth Management, we'll also oftentimes receive questions on, what type of investments I should be looking at. And as I mentioned, any investment should really be chosen within the context of a well thought out personal financial plan. So we're going to start off by talking about evolution of wealth management and a quote from Tony Powers, our firm president for wealth management. And it says, "We believe a team of experienced financial advisors and CPAs together using a thoughtful combination of investment strategies maximizes the likelihood of achieving your personal financial goals." So position of Kerber Rose in general is that taxes and investing are inextricably linked and go hand in hand. It's so very important that a financial advisor professional is really working together with a tax professional and coming up with the best solution possible for clients. And I believe that's one thing that we do really, really well and can kind of separate us, from other firms out there. And this is an area that you really need to coordinate on a yearly basis, not just what I would call a one and done approach. So you want to have ongoing dialogue with your personal financial advisor and accountant, and really make sure they're working together as a team to achieve, the best scenario possible for you. And one thing on this note that I like to add, it's a kind of a famous quote that I've seen a lot on the internet, but it says it's not just how much you make in terms of your investment return, but it's what's important is what you actually keep. So we try to employ a very tax efficient investment process for our clients so that they're not only achieving a desirable return, but they're also keeping as much of that as possible and not losing it to taxes later on. So let's talk a little bit about what is a registered investment advisor. That's how Kerber Rose was actually set up. Was as a registered investment advisor. And that means an advisor or firm engaged in the investment advisory business and registered with either the Securities and Exchange Commission, known as the SEC for short, or a state securities authority. And why that's important, being registered as a registered investment advisor, is really because RIAs have a fiduciary duty to their clients, which means they have a fundamental obligation to provide suitable investment advice and always act in their client's best interest. So simply put, in financial services, working as a fiduciary means you're taking the highest standard of care when working with clients. So about our investment philosophy, we're providing an educational approach to help clients understand what they have and therefore assisting them in preserving, protecting, and enhancing their financial future. We found just throughout our collective experience that the industry can tend to make things overly technical for clients. And when we have clients and prospects that are looking at our services, when they come to us asking for help, they're oftentimes, providing their retirement plan investment statements to us and really seeking out our input and helping them get a better understanding of what everything means as far as the investments that they have. And we try to take a very simple approach. We're always happy to go into more investment detail if someone's interested, but we try to take a really simple approach in educating our clients on what they have. And it all starts with a 1 to 5 rating system on the different funds that they own in their portfolio, a 5 being the highest level that they can achieve, a 1 being the lowest. And we break down their current holdings using that 1 to 5 system, which makes it just really, really easy for clients to understand how their investments stack up. And there's 3 important components that go into that rating. First one is going to be performance. Everybody wants to achieve a high performing investment account, be in investments, mutual funds that consistently are performing well. But that's just one component that we're looking at. Second one is going to be the risk involved with that particular investment or fund. So simply put, we want to be using funds that historically within their peer group have provided average to above average returns versus their peers, while taking average to below average risk. What we don't want to have are clients with a portfolio with a lot of investments that have been performing below their peer group while taking above average risk. That tells us that we need to look for other options out there to improve upon that. And the last component of that very simple 1 to 5 rating system is going to be the cost that's involved. So we want to be mindful of the cost that you're paying for your investments and seek out investments that have very low costs within their peer group, because we believe over the long term that is an area that can certainly enhance returns for clients. So a little bit about who we are at Kerber Rose Wealth Management. We like to believe we're small enough to provide personal hands-on counsel, yet large enough to serve each individual's financial needs. And we work with a variety of clients in a number of different formats. So a lot of our personal planning clients are investment management clients where we're managing their investments in conjunction with their ongoing financial plan. But from time to time, we do have clients that ask us to help them with a particular topic, in which case we can work with those clients on an hourly or project basis. So we're able to really serve a variety of different people that would like to work with us. So a little bit about our team. It's hard to believe looking at the next photo that there's on the advisor side, there's over 80 years of experience for the 4 gentlemen on the left-hand side, but we'll just kind of move through from left to right our team members. So Tony Powers is our president of our wealth management division at Kerber Rose, also considered the shareholder in charge. So he oversees all firm operations. And Tony also specializes in the employer plan market. And we'll talk a little bit more at the end of our presentation about the different services we provide. But Tony specializes in the 401k space and employer plans, but also works with individual clients as well. Dan Watruba is our director of wealth management. He works mostly with individual clients and has extensive trust and estate planning background, and also leads our portfolio management process. Mike Rudolph is our director of retirement plans. Has been with Kerber Rose for a little over a year and specializes in employer retirement plans in the 401k space. My name is Scott Shavy, as you're all aware from the introduction. I'm a wealth advisor in our Appleton office. I lead the financial planning process, working with our individual clients, and I work mostly with individual clients for that matter. So we've got 2 advisors on our team that specialize in the employer plan space and 2 individuals that specialize working with individual clients. And the success that our division has had as advisors would not be possible without having 2 rock star assistants. So Gabby Finnegan, client service associate, and Ashley Tomaszek, administrative assistant in our Shawano office. So Both Gabby and Ashley are cross-trained on individual clients and the 401k space. So we work a lot with them on our team, and we couldn't be where we are today without all of the help they provide us advisors. So what we do at Kerber Rose Wealth Management, we combine real-life financial advice with a unique tax-advantaged wealth planning process. And this is all really built around achieving individual goals and objectives. So when we meet with an individual client, initially that first meeting is really to get to know them, discuss what their hopes, their dreams, their goals are. And oftentimes it's going to be for retiring. And it all starts with that process before we really determine what type of investment approach we're going to be using. So next, we're going to really segue into some of our industry partners and a little bit about our investment management process. So Charles Schwab is the custodian that we have chosen to custody our clients' money. So if you're working with a registered investment advisor like Kerber Rose, they are going to choose an independent third party to actually custody those assets, which means that's where your statements and website login, where you're going to go to access your accounts. And we've chosen Charles Schwab. They've got 30 years in the business of supporting independent advisors like Kerber Rose, over $1.5 trillion in assets under management. And they do a really good job of being a leading custodian for small and mid-sized firms. And on our end as the investment advisor, we like to really think of Charles Schwab as a giant supermarket. So we'll talk in future slides about different investments, programs that are available through Schwab. But as that slide, that last bullet point suggests, they really serve as a supermarket of investments for us, where we can really have access to any type of investment that will work for our particular clients. So on the investment research side, we use a company called Morningstar, which may not be as well known as Charles Schwab in the industry, but we use them to receive unbiased third-party research on investment options. They were founded in Chicago in 1984. They're an independent research company, provide research on over 600,000 different investments. They help us analyze portfolios, risk analytics, and performance reporting. So some of the different investments and strategies that we use for our clients, active mutual fund management and passive index strategies. There's really two different ways when you're building out an investment portfolio. You can use what are referred to as actively managed mutual funds, or you can use what are called passive index strategies or exchange traded funds. And we find both of these can work really well for clients, and it just depends on each individual client specific situation as to which approach we might use. And that's where we leverage the research abilities of Morningstar to help us identify what are going to be the best options to use for clients, what are going to be the most tax efficient options, and what are going to be the lowest cost strategies. Some of the more advanced planning investment strategies we use with clients, we do have the ability to use manage individual equities. Equities refers to individual stocks, individual bonds, and CDs in portfolios. And we also have the ability to tax manage portfolios as well. So one of the programs we use at Schwab that works really, really well for clients is called Schwab's Institutional Intelligent Portfolios. That allows us to really automate the investment process using automatic rebalancing inside of retirement accounts. And the tax managed process comes into account for brokerage accounts. Clients that have brokerage accounts with Kerber Rose using this platform, they have a balance over $50,000. Those accounts are automatically tax managed, which means we're actively looking for opportunities to do what's called tax loss harvesting. Simply put, it means if the market is giving you lemons as of late, you have the ability to take some of those funds that haven't been performing, sell those, and what we like to call create some lemonade, which simply gives you the ability to offset some of those losses against future gains. So it's a good strategy available to really anybody that has a brokerage account. So a little bit more on Charles Schwab, mutual funds and exchange traded funds, or ETFs. They're one of the largest commission-free ETF investing platforms in the industry. They provide more than 200 commission-free exchange-traded funds from leading providers spanning more than 65 different Morningstar categories. There's over 4,000 mutual funds with no loads, no transaction fees in the Schwab Mutual Fund One Source Center. So it's our job using Morningstar and their independent research to help determine out of those 4,000 plus mutual funds, 200 ETFs, what options we believe are going to be in the client's best interest. We also have access to individual taxable and municipal bonds that we can use inside client portfolios, along with FDIC insured CDs and money market funds. All right, so some of the more advanced opportunities that are available for our clients. A growing percentage of our clients we're working with have large brokerage accounts and trust accounts. And a program that's available at Charles Schwab is what's called a separately managed account. And what that does is it allows us to have an independent company or team pick individual stocks and bonds for that particular account. And it works extremely well for clients that have trust and brokerage accounts. Some of the items it allows us to do is really creating tax efficiencies for our clients, engaging in active tax loss harvesting, as we discussed a couple minutes ago. When we use a separate account manager for our clients through Schwab, that allows us the ability to really dictate when capital gains are taken in the account. So if we compare that to a traditional mutual fund, that produces what are called forced distributions, capital gain distributions, typically at the end of the year. As a client that owns that particular mutual fund, you don't have a lot of control over when those happen and the amounts. So when we have separate managed accounts for our clients that have brokerage and trust accounts, we get to have leverage and have a lot better control when those gains are taken. And that's why we're able to create better tax efficiencies inside those accounts, and really creates a customized approach for each individual client that we've had a lot of good feedback and a lot of our clients really enjoy. We'll skip ahead and talk a little bit about our investment process. So really all the slides that we've talked about today, really what they do is they're coordinating a specific investment process centered around the following bullet points. So we want to understand your financial goals and objectives. From there, we're going to create a well-defined route for achieving those goals and building a diversified risk-adjusted portfolio for you. On an ongoing basis, though, so once we build that portfolio, it doesn't stop there. We're going to closely monitor your account with ongoing reviews and compare that to your overall financial plan. And that gives us the ability to make any changes along the way if we need to. And lastly, providing ongoing advice, keeping clients on course, certainly as your financial goals evolve. I'd say any discussion on investment philosophy and planning, it wouldn't be complete without showing what we call in the industry the periodic table of investment returns. And I really love this slide because it shows how returns in different sectors can vary widely from month to month. And it also emphasizes the importance of really sticking with a plan and having a disciplined approach. So if we look at the bottom of this chart, in kind of a darker shade of blue there, we see the energy sector in October of 2018, November 2018, December 2018. So fourth quarter, we can see that was a group that really struggled out of all the different sectors in the economy. So this is where having a very well thought out and disciplined approach and working with a fiduciary advisor like we are at Kerber Rose can really help you stick to your plan. We don't want clients to be in the position where they're trying to always react and make changes based on what just happened. And the reason that I point out fourth quarter of 2018 is if somebody made major changes to their portfolio and completely exited out of that particular sector, as you'll notice in January of 2019, that energy sector was then the second highest performing sector in the economy. So it struggled fourth quarter, as did industrials fourth quarter of 2018. But if somebody stayed the course, then they would have had the ability to really capitalize on those groups performing well the following month. So a couple other things to close on as far as kind of the investment process before we talk about, before we wrap up with types of clients that we work with and areas we specialize in. Some of the items that our clients really appreciate are measuring results in the performance reporting we provide and ongoing review meetings. So one of those items that I want to shed a little bit more detail on is net return reports and level pricing structure. So net return, clients oftentimes are wondering, I know there's fees that are involved for investing, but how do I know exactly what return I'm getting? And the performance reporting that we share with clients is net of fees. So it really helps clients get a good understanding of the return that they're actually receiving after fees have been taken into account. We have a level pricing structure at Kerber Rose. So it's not a grid approach where you're paying X percent on the first, let's say, $1 million in your account, and then another percentage on the next $1 million. What we do is simply create a level pricing structure. So the client knows exactly the percentage fee that's being withheld from their account for us managing their investments and overseeing the account. It's not going to be a complicated, complex mathematical equation that they've got to go back home and try to calculate on their own. So we try to make those items very, very transparent and very easy to understand, which our clients really appreciate. So delivering on our promises, kind of bringing everything full circle. We've talked about having a very educational approach, working with our clients, that very simple 1 to 5 rating system that we use to help clients get an understanding where their portfolio is at today and the types of funds that we're using in our accounts. We provide honest and objective advice. Clear and concise reporting, so very easy to understand, as we mentioned in the previous slide, showing returns net of fees. We have a team approach, which we talked about our group members. We've got individuals that specialize in employer-based plans, individuals that specialize on the individual planning side, along with extensive background in trust and estate planning. So these are all things that we believe we do really well and our clients appreciate. So we're going to finish up the next few minutes in our presentation really talking about who we serve and the types of services we provide for clients. So our business at Kerber Rose Wealth Management is pretty broken down equally between working with employer-based retirement plans and working with individual clients. So on the employer plan side, oftentimes we can be working with a small business owner, and we're trying to help them identify between the different types of retirement plans that are out there, which plan is going to work the best for their business and for them at that particular item. So that's where setting up a SEP IRA, a simple IRA, perhaps a solo 401k plan, those are the types of accounts that we're going to be discussing with that small business owner. We also work with government and nonprofit groups, as well as small to medium-sized businesses. And that's where setting up a 401k plan for the business and serving as an advisor, doing independent benchmarking on their plan creates a lot of value for them. And then also working with counties, cities, school districts, we have the ability to set up 403B and 457 plans for those organizations. On the individual planning level, we work with a lot of clients that have individual brokerage and trust accounts, making sure that they have a plan set up for potentially producing an income for them when they retire, also looking at tax efficiencies as we discussed earlier, and then certainly individual retirement accounts, traditional Roth IRAs, that's where that intelligent portfolio platform at Schwab with automatic rebalancing works really, really well for clients that have those types of accounts. So on the individual planning side, we can kind of think of individual wealth management. We can break that down into 4 main areas. The first one is looking at retirement planning overall. And this is where we help individual clients create a personalized plan that's really going to help them answer some of the following questions. So, one of those is going to be what level of income and spending can you achieve in retirement? That's where the retirement income and cash flow analysis comes in. Really, every client is going to have to cross that decision of when should I look at starting to draw Social Security? And that's where the ability with using financial planning software, helping clients get an understanding of, what's going to make the most sense for their individual plan as far as what year, what age to start drawing Social Security. Then a number of our planning clients also are coming to us with a pension that they have from work. That could be from a company, or if they're working for a government agency like the state of Wisconsin, a school district, or a county, they're typically going to have a pension that they have to make a decision on. So we do a lot of planning around for our individual clients and helping them determine when should they be drawing their pension, what option, and how does that coordinate with Social Security. From there, once we have that plan established, that's where we really look at the investment piece. And that's going to really depend on, what we're formulating for a plan. It's going to depend on, each person's individual plan. So we're going to look at things like the level of risk or return that we need to achieve to make the plan work. From there, we're going to look at their asset allocation and the best way to allocate their investments based on their goals. And really, the portfolio management comes into place, and that's just ongoing due diligence and reviews. So based on the plan and how those monies are invested, we want to make sure on an ongoing basis that we're keeping their allocations in line with where they need to be, and reviewing those investment options and seeking out different investments, if we need to make improvements. Those are all the things that we're looking at, working with our clients on an ongoing basis. Last couple areas that really round out the individual financial plan are going to be risk management. That looks at an insurance review. So if somebody is maybe a little bit earlier on in their career, we certainly want to be looking at a life insurance analysis, make sure they have appropriate coverage. If there is a premature death in the family, reviewing disability coverage. And typically, as somebody is approaching retirement or retired, then the discussion on how they're going to pay for long-term care is going to come into play. And then the second part of risk management is really going to be estate planning, and that's where Dan Watruba comes into play. When we talked about our team members, we have an individual in our team, Dan, that specializes in estate planning and really reviewing wills and trusts. So we're able to break those documents down and give clients a good understanding of where things are at today, and talk through any changes that they might need to make, and then make those attorney referrals, individuals they can go to work on to get those documents drafted. So one of the most important things then that coincides with a sound financial plan is really ongoing tax planning. So we talked a little bit about tax loss harvesting. That's the ability to, as I mentioned, kind of take lemons that the market will occasionally give us and turn those into lemonade, or tax planning opportunities where we can take those losses and offset those against future gains when clients want to take money out of the portfolio. Second component of tax planning is what we call asset location. So that's not the mutual funds specifically that you own in your account, like asset allocation. That's really referring to the types of investments that you own in those accounts. So we want to structure those things appropriately for clients for maximum tax efficiency. And then really on the back end for tax planning is just looking at making sure they have a tax efficient investing strategy and withdrawal strategy. So there can be a lot of planning that can be done around this area. And I'll just give a couple of examples that have happened over the last few weeks. We have a number of planning clients that are looking to retire prior to age 65, where they're going to be looking at purchasing their own health insurance out on the healthcare exchanges. And there can be a lot of planning that needs to be done years in advance to try to better control their income when they get to that point. Because keeping their income under a certain threshold is what's going to help have those premiums be more affordable at the given time versus getting out, what I like to call getting out of control. So that's where a lot of planning can be. A lot of planning is involved on trying to help them determine, should we be investing more in pre-tax versus Roth, with the end goal of having more flexibility later on when they retire. So investing with Kerber Rose, to kind of wrap everything up, at Kerber Rose Wealth Management, we take our fiduciary role very seriously. Rest assured, we will dedicate our time and expertise to work with each individual client on reaching their financial goals and dreams. So thank you everyone for attending. We appreciate you spending your time with Kerber Rose today. We'll provide you with a recording of the webinar and the presentation slides. Should you still have more questions, our presenters and the rest of our Kerber Rose team are more than willing to provide guidance on these particular topics. So my contact information is up on the last slide. More than welcome to reach out. We're always happy to have a complimentary 15 to 20 minute call with anybody to discuss what they're looking for and what their particular goals are. So we hope everybody has a good day.